Hello and welcome back. This is the Clay Golem. This is Foundry VTT, and in this video we're going to be looking at Bastions, which is part of the new 2024 rules, and not talking about Bastions in itself, but about how that works in Foundry. So of course, because it's part of the 2024 rules, you do need to be on the D&D 4 point whatever 1.3 we're on at the moment, I think. 4.1.2 at the moment, so that you've got access to the features in Foundry to be able to use Bastions as per the book. Now, of course, because we've got the DMG in here, we've got this section that's all about Bastions, and it talks you through. And yes, it's got these sections in here if you've got the digital version in Foundry that talk you through how to do that in Foundry. So we're going to have a little play with it today and just see how that works. Now, the first thing we need to do is go to our game settings, and under our configure settings in the D&D 5th edition section, there is this Bastions options here. By default, certainly for me, they're switched off. So clicking on that, this is where I can say I want to use Bastions. So I can tick this to say enable that functionality. There's a bit of wording there, but you'll see how that works in a minute. And do I want to use Bastion turns? The answer is yes. I do want to have the turns button available to me. And again, I'll come back to that. And the default is 7 days, so once per week. But you can change that if you want for your game world. For example, if you're playing Forgotten Realms, they tend to work on a 10-day system. So a week is 10 days long. So you might want to change that to say, well, actually, a turn is every 10 day. You can do that. Let's leave it at 7 for the moment. It doesn't really make any difference for this purpose. Let's save changes. We've switched that on. Now, instantly, something has changed for the really observant of you, or the ones who've already had a look. Bottom left, we have a new button that sits just above the players that says Advance Bastion Turn. So that was that second option we clicked on, which gives us this. If I click it, it says, do we want to advance 1 Bastion turn? Not going to do it at the moment, because what the heck does that mean? We'll get back to that. And again, you'll need to read the rules for exactly how Bastions work. This is about it working in Foundry, not a how to use Bastions in your game necessarily. Right, so let's pick a character. I've created a character, this wizard woman. I know, amazing naming conventions, all right? That I've created that we're going to use for this. Now, you don't get your Bastion until 5th level. So there is no way that this individual has access, being 4th level, so at the top there, has access to Bastions at this point. They might have had some thoughts about it. They might be planning what they want to do, but they can't actually do anything until they hit 5th level. Okay, that's hard coded in. That's the default. There's not a lot you can do about that. Let's level this individual. Okay, so we're going to pop you to 5th level. Doesn't really matter what I do for this. Yep, lovely. Thank you very much. Now we are 5th level. I've just had on the right hand side, if you look at the tabs, I've had a new tab appear. As soon as I hit 5th level, this Bastion tab appears. Let's click on it. This takes us to this character's Bastion. Now, the rulebook does talk about, each individual character having a Bastion, or they might club together however you want to do it. And I'll come back to my ideas a bit later in the video. But at this point, they can start planning it. Now, by default, each character, when they hit level 5, gets, you can see it says free facilities here. They get 2 basic facilities that are free. So by clicking on this, I can choose what that first facility is. Now, for this wizard, they're going to want a bedroom. Let's tick bedroom. We can select, and you can see that's added in a bedroom for them. I'm not sure if you can see, it's quite small there. I'll try and zoom in on the edit. It says that it's cramped. Let's choose another free facility. Well, let's have a parlour. Why not? Now, these don't actually do anything within the system itself. They are more role playing. So we've got a bedroom and a parlour. Notice that the bedroom is cramped and the parlour is cramped. Now, the rules say that when you get your Bastion, you get 2 basic facilities. One is cramped, and the other one is roomy. But these both come up as cramped. So first question is, how do you fix that? As the DM, certainly, I can go in and I can right click on this and edit. If I go to details, you can see this is telling me that this is a basic facility. It's the parlour. It's cramped. I can change that and say it's roomy. Now on here, we've got bedroom cramped, parlour roomy. So, boom, there it is. Now, let's say further on, as we gain levels, we have more access to different areas and things like that. Or the characters, and I should say, the characters can throw money at it to build out if they want to. Let's say the wizard really, really wants a basic kitchen facility. Notice this doesn't say free now, it says build facility. So if I click on this and I select my kitchen, this is saying unbuilt. It's not built, and it's not going to build it. Okay, and I can actually, if I wanted to, I can plan out and say I'm going to want some storage as well, and I'm going to want a dining room. Okay, those are the things I'm going to want. Only the bedroom and the parlour actually exist. So this character could choose to be planning these things ahead of time of what they're going to want, which, trust me, as the DM, that's really handy because you may be wanting to design maps for their bastion, especially if they're going to get attacked there or whatever it may be. By knowing what they're planning to do, you can do that, and I'll come back to that a bit later. So how do they go about turning this kitchen into an actual building? If we click on this, this is going to allow us to access the issues that we can do. Now, for the bedroom, we can enlarge it. That's the only thing we can do. The parlour, we can enlarge it. For the kitchen, it's not built. We can build it. If I click build, it is going to default to say, well, we want to move it to roomy. It's going to default to say how many days it will take and how much gold it will take. In fact, actually, I'm going to check that because that came in as because it's unbuilt completely. Yes, that's right. I need to select what size I want that kitchen to be. As a wizard, they're not going to spend a lot of time there. We're going to go for a cramped kitchen. And I can execute that order. You can see that this has now changed. We've now got a 0 out of 20. That's the number of days. Remember, we've got 7 days. We've got 7 days in a week. That's what we left it as the default. And this just shows that this is being built. Let's say we want to also build our dining room. We're going to build that, and we're going to say this is roomy. It's going to cost us 1,000 gold and take 45 days. There we go. This is now also starting to be built. Make sure you take the money off of your characters. They've got to actually pay for this stuff. And from a DM point of view, I would say they pay that up front, unless they come to some kind of deal. Now, when it comes to the special facilities, I'm just double checking in the book here that the characters get 2 special facilities of their choice for which they qualify. So it's got 2 there, just double checking that that is correct by the book. So if I click add facilities, these ones are a bit more special. These are the ones that they can use to do stuff. Now I'm doing a wizard, so I'm going to go for an arcane study, and I'm going to select that. And this looks slightly different, but I'll come back to it. And the other facility I'm going to have is a library. Because. Now what's different about these? Now notice these are both coming as roomy. If I right click and edit, I can still change these if I wanted to. If you had a character that says, well look, instead of having 2, can I just have 1 and have it vast instead? Sure, why not? You know, that's up to you as the DM. But you'll notice there's a lot more details on here. Arcane study, that's roomy. I've now got properties of what order you can do from here. How many hirelings can occupy. Whether this space is free and doesn't count towards it. If they've taken over an existing castle and you want to give them a free facility, you can do that. Can this be enlarged? Can this be, is this disabled at the moment? All sorts of things that you can choose to do here. And note at the bottom it says crafting. The items that this facility is currently in the process of crafting or harvesting, if any. We will come back to that. We don't need to worry about activities. So we now have 2 completed basic facilities with 2 new basic facilities being built, and we've got our 2 special facilities. Now on the left here, can you see there's this small little person icon? This shows who is the person who is the hireling that is looking after that. So you can actually select people. So Conan the librarian, I'm going to drag him and drop him in there. Conan the librarian is now the hireling that looks after that. So suddenly you can create your NPCs, you can drop them in, excuse me, and you can start using them to create stories and stuff around what you've got. I'm going to chuck this monk in there. So we've now got people actually in there. You can remember who they are. You can involve them in role play, whatever you need to do, especially if they're at the Bastion. You can make notes on their character about, you know, the voices that they use, the quirks that they have, how grumpy they are, all of that sort of thing. Brilliant. Now, because these special facilities have the ability to give orders, we can click on this. So if I click on Arcane Study, I can issue the craft order. So clicking on that, you'll see that it takes 7 days and costs nothing. Do I need to purchase a base item? But look, you can drop stuff in here. Now, I can't remember exactly, and it doesn't really matter for this purpose. In fact, I'm not going to do it that way. But let's say that what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a scroll, right? That's what we're going to do. So let's go to the player's handbook. Let's find spells. Go to my thing there, and let's say we're going to make a scroll with the blessed spell on it. Now, if I copy this over here, I should be got to actually leave that. Hang on a minute. Pressing too many buttons. I should be able to drop that in there, but that's come in as the spell because I haven't produced it as a scroll. Easy peasy. If I drop it into a character sheet, no, that didn't create it as a scroll. That's fine. I've forgotten how to do this because it's different in different one. There we go. Create scroll. Thank you very much. Now I've created. There we go. Professional at work, right? And it's part of the change between the 2 systems, especially with item piles. In the other system, you just drag the spell out and it automatically creates it as a scroll. This one, you have to specifically select it. Right, so if I take this, I can drop that into there and say, this is what we're going to be making. So we're going to be crafting a spell scroll of Bless. Execute order. Let's go back to my Bastions tab. We can now see that the Arcane Study is crafting something, and it tells me what it's crafting and how long that's going to take. Excellent. So how do we actually get this stuff to move forward? Well, that's what this button in the bottom left, advance a bastion turn, is all about. So maybe this wizard woman maybe she's at home helping out, coordinating this. Maybe she's off adventuring or whatever it is that is going on. After that week has passed, I can do the bastion turn. So I can click on this and say yes, and suddenly some things changed here. So you can see the kitchen has now gone up 7 out of 20, the dining room 7 out of 45, and we finished crafting that. Now the question is where did that scroll go? Nowhere. So you need to be aware of what they were crafting and make sure that you actually put that into their inventory for them, okay? Because it basically just disappeared. But you'll know that because you're talking with your players and you're making those decisions. We can do the same with the library, of course, do the research order. We can issue that. Lovely jubbly. That's now going to take 7 days itself. Let's advance another bastion turn for us. The library's now finished its particular bit of research it was doing. The kitchen is now 14 out of 20 and the dining room is 14 out of 20. And we can just advance those turns as the players go on. The kitchen has been finished. Remember, we did the kitchen as cramped, which is why it was much quicker. That kitchen's been completed. It's now one of our basic facilities. The dining room's going to take a bit longer. We can advance on a bit more and get that dining room finished as well. Nearly there. Another 3 days. Bam. Dining room that is roomy is done. And that storage, we never set that to start building, so it's not being built. So on the character sheet, we can see exactly what facilities this individual has access to, and this individual can come in here and use this to issue orders that they want to, such as what they're going to do in the arcane study, what they're going to do in the library. Now, if they... I don't think it's possible for me to add on another special facility this way. As the DM, I'm sure there is a way to do that, or to change it, because again, if we right click, we can say, look, you know, they've decided to scrap the library, they're going to pay loads of money, and we're going to change the library, and they want it to become a garden. All right, they're going to do that. Yeah, if that's what they want to do. Didn't actually change it. It said like, oh, I see. Yep. So it doesn't want us. It won't let us do it that way. I said I want it to be a garden. So maybe this is not the way to do it. There you go. You live and learn, hey? If I delete it, what happens? There we go. I can add a new facility, and now I can say I want a garden. There we go. There we go. And then we can put Irina in as looking after the garden, and we can issue the harvest and change order. And again, if we're harvesting, we can drop in what it is we're harvesting there. So the PHB is going to have a lot of those items in that they might be harvesting, but you might want to, you know, if they're harvesting the cut flowers for selling, I don't think that's in the PHB. You might want to create an item so that you can drag that in there, just to remind you what they said they were going to do. And of course, if we're harvesting, how many are we getting? You know, if we are making healing potions, how many are we making, etc. So you can actually change the quantity there as well. Easy peasy. So that is, in a nutshell, that is it. Really easy to keep track of what facilities they've got, what facilities they haven't got. Now, from my point of view as a DM, as you're probably aware, I'm running Curse of Strahd at the moment, and we're currently in the 2014 rules, but I want to transition my team over. And the reason why I want to transition my team over is, well, there's a few different things, to be honest, is I want to access some of the functionality in the updated Foundry D&D game engine, the 4.1.2, whatever it is. Because some of it's a lot slicker. Yeah, I lose a fair amount of automation doing that, but it does give me access to the PHB and DMG within Foundry, which is a huge benefit, but it also means I can use Bastions. Now, for that particular group, what I'm planning to have happen, how they get their Bastion, because they're nearly there, is to be essentially inherit an existing building with an existing number of rooms as a reward for their services rendered, if you like. So what I would want to do is I would want to, well, I wouldn't, what I plan to do is to create a scene that has a map of all of the rooms available for them. So I need to take the number of players I've got, which is actually 5 at the moment. We started with 7, we've only got 5 now, and say, right, well, actually, there's 5 people. They're all going to get 2 basic facilities. So that's straight away I need 10 rooms and potentially 2 special features. Well, that's 10 of those as well. So I'm going to need 20 rooms. Now I can choose to almost force them down one way or another, such as, well, you've got a garden. I don't care who uses it, but you've got a garden. There's a room that used to be a library. So I can kind of plan out what it is and then have them move in with some of those rooms already functional and available, and the rest of them actually they need to do work on. So I can put a whole bunch of empty rooms that need clearing out, the floors repairing, a hole in the roof repairing, and those kind of things, so that when they go, actually, look, I want to take over one of those junky rooms now and turn it into a storage room, yeah, they're going to have to pay the 500 gold, and it's going to take 20 days in order for that to be brought up to scratch, everything fixed, all the junk got rid of, you know, the storage shelves put in, whatever it's going to be used for, and do it that kind of way. So make the house or the building bigger than they need, but define a whole bunch of rooms within there. Now, you obviously, that starts to restrict the players, because they might say, yeah, but I don't want a cramped bedroom, I want a roomy bedroom. So rather than me defining which room is which, I will make a building that's got a series of cramped rooms, a series of roomy rooms, and a few vast rooms, like the vast dining hall, a vast garden kind of area, a vast courtyard, that they can repurpose to however they want. And that means I can use that floor plan. I can use something like Dungeon Draft and drop in loads of furniture onto that map, so it starts to feel like home for them. So if Wizard Woman happens to move in and say, yes, okay, I'm going to have my bedroom, I can get her to describe the kind of stuff that she's got in her bedroom, and I can use Dungeon Draft to put that stuff out, and she can select which room on the map she wants to have as her bedroom. She can do that. If she wants an arcane study, fantastic. Once we know which room she's using for that, we can again use Dungeon Draft. We can use all those assets to build it up to make it look like how they want. Now that you can do that on an individual player by player basis, or if you've got them all living in the same building and using it as a base camp, well, you just do it as a bigger building. What is useful in the fact that we can do what I'm doing here, and we can put in these build facilities without building them, I want to build another bedroom, is actually they can plan out what they will want, because between them they are going to want a bedroom each. They're probably going to want at least one kitchen. They probably want a dining room. They're going to kind of go through and go, well, we want one of each of these with multiple bedrooms. They might say they want multiple courtyards, multiple storage, etc. So I can plan out on that basis, and they can divvy up their things. If they all take one bedroom each, one can have a parlour, one can have a kitchen, one can have a dining room, one can have storage. and then, everybody's got access to them. And because these basic facilities don't really do anything apart from provide that role-playing stuff, it will be the special facilities where they really need to think about, well, hang on a minute, what is it that I want? Do they need multiple libraries? Now, strictly speaking, if Wizard Woman is the one who owns the library, and therefore it's her hireling that runs it, she should be issuing the orders to that, nobody else. But of course they can request and say, oh, can you research this for us? Can you do this for us? But this player makes that ultimate decision on that. So again, with 5 players, what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 5 players. They get 2 each. That's 10. There's 9 of these available. So there might be some doubling up. Or somebody might say, well, look, let's have 2 storehouses. We can make double the money. Storehouses basically acts like a shop. So they could cover the whole lot between 5 players if they wanted to. They might choose not to do that. They might want 3 workshops. 3 workshops and a smithy, There's 4 already. They might want, 8 libraries. Who knows? The point is, it's up to them, and they can do that if they wish to. So how does it work in Foundry? I mean, it's good, isn't it? The fact that we can actually track that stuff now in here with the 2024 rules is really, really good. I really like it. I think it's going to be a great asset. I love the way that they can't access this until 5th level because they don't need to, but then they can actually plan stuff out themselves, etc. And of course, as the DM, like I am now, at any point I can check any of these characters and go, well, oh, you haven't reached level yet. I think Conan the Librarian, yep, right, you've got your storage. You've got your storage and your storage ready. You haven't got your facilities. I can go in and I can look and see what they are. Now, with regard to dropping in what you're crafting, you don't have to bother. As long as you know. Now, for me, because this is not going to happen within the same session, I would be using this. Because they're going to issue orders on one session. They're not going to get that stuff until the end of the next, until the end of a week. And that's not likely to be within the same session. We're going to come back and it was like, what was I growing? What was I researching? What was I making? What was the orders I gave? by dropping it in there, it's going to be really easy to go, oh yeah, that's right. And then when I do the advanced, whenever it is that I do the advanced Bastion term, I've got that as a reminder of what they're going to get once that's completed. So I think that's really kind of nifty. But anyway, relatively short video, but I think really nicely implemented. And this is what we're finding as now that there is the working together between the D&D guys and the Foundry guys and the game engine guys. They're all kind of I say guys, I know it's not just blokes, I'm using guys as more generally, but because they're all working together, it's becoming more and more slick and integrated, and yeah, it just keeps getting better with every little update, which is fantastic. I can stop rambling. I'm doing it again, aren't I? Leave a like, leave a comment. What would be really interesting to see in the comments of how many of you are planning to use Bastions, assuming you're going to the 2024 rules, and how many of you are not planning to use them at all and just kind of going, oh, can't be bothered, it's too much hassle, or it doesn't fit our playstyle. It'd be really interesting to know what you guys think, what you're planning to do with it. Anyway, that's it for this one. Take care, everyone. Leave a like, leave a comment. If you're not subscribed, please do so. It really helps out the channel. Do appreciate it. And I will catch you all in the next one.